NBC Talk Radio, 1050 AM, KCAA.
Welcome back to Money Talk. This is Jesse Torres, and I'm joined in the studio today with Kayhan Fatimi, the small business attorney. Thank you, Kayhan, for sticking with us. So, Kayhan, we've had some great segments today. We spoke to you about the legal aspects of forming a business, of maintaining a business. We spoke with Manuel Martinez. He's talked to us about what it takes as an entrepreneur to start a business. Know what it is that you're going to do before you go and do it. Otherwise, you risk losing a lot of money. We spoke to Rolando Castro a few moments ago, and he told us about how folks can get their credit fixed, cleaned, so that they can continue. And a lot of these folks, the Money Talk is about not only small businesses, but also consumers. But with respect to the credit issue, we talked earlier, credit cuts all cleavages in a sense. It cuts across into small business. It cuts across into our consumer and household aspects, and to a large degree, even employment.
Well, that's exactly correct. And so what I don't want lost from the last segment is, even though Rolando was talking about the fact that they cater primarily or exclusively to individuals, but it's those exact individuals who are the ones going out and starting small businesses.
Exactly.
And so an individual's bad credit turns into a small business bad credit. And I can tell you that right off the bat, the biggest thing that's going to haunt them with bad credit, if they don't get this fixed through Rolando or someone else's organization, is a lease. As soon as they form a business, they think they're about to start, they try and lease a space, and they're going to have a problem.
That's a great point. That's actually an excellent point. So you get the lease, but you get it on terms that just are horrible, where maybe you get it month to month, you can't lock it in, or the price is so much higher because you pay a premium for that bad credit.
That's exactly correct.
Well, so staying on track with this whole small business thing, we've talked about on this show a number of items, and we've talked to small business owners, and we've spoken with caterers, we've spoken with bakers, we've spoken with those that actually train folks to get into industry, to change from one industry to the other. But our next guest, Jeffrey Bazan, he's the Chief Operating Officer with Keeping It Local, and he brings a real interesting component to running a small business. He offers what's called a card-linked offer, and it's a loyalty-type program. And his organization, Keeping It Local, has actually gone out and sort of taken, I like to say, kind of taken Groupon off the internet and put it at the street level. And so, Jeffrey, Mr. Bazan, are you there with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us. I am incredibly intrigued about this whole concept of keeping it local and what it is that you do. Can you sort of give us, a Reader's Digest version of what it is that you do and really how you came about doing this?
Absolutely. For us, it was, a group of local friends from South Bay by the Manhattan Beach area, and we decided to take a closer look at the local economy and basically started to follow the money. For us, it was important to find out exactly where our consumer dollars were going. And when we started getting together with a group like Civic Economics group in Northern California that were doing case studies. And when you started to follow the money and you started to realize, for example, if you took $100 and you spent it at large chains, such as Target or Macy's or food chains, and you took that same $100 and you spent it at local merchants, that economic impact that it had in the community was dramatic. The difference was about 13% for every $100 only stayed in the community when you went and shopped at chains, while 43% stayed in the community when you shopped at a local merchant. So that's what motivated us to come up with Keeping It Local. That really was the whole point of what we were doing.
So that's an incredibly powerful idea. Essentially what you're doing is you're recycling those dollars within a given community to keep them spending in that community for the benefit of the small business owners. And, Kayhan, you and I were talking off the air about the effect that small business owners have relative to creating jobs. These successful businesses actually create additional jobs, but they don't get to the point of growing and possibly going out and seeing someone like Manuel unless they have people walking in the door and driving sales. And so, Jeff, what you're saying is instead of giving these dollars major chain that then exports these dollars to wherever their home office is located, these dollars actually stay locally.
And absolutely, and that's the whole point. And it wasn't necessarily to change everybody's behavior, because we know you're still going to go to Target. We know you're still going to go to these brands that we shop to, but we're trying to educate the community that if you just shift a small percentage of your spending behavior, even 10% or 5%, and everybody collectively does it within the community, we're talking about millions of dollars within a community that can be used within the community. So we're not talking about abandoning completely, or we're not sitting here in a campaign against large chains. We realize that that's part of our daily lives. And we realize that even in those large chains, there are, local people that are working and workers. So, we're more about coexisting with the large chains, but educating them and shifting just a bit of that, which is going to have a huge economic impact. And that's when we started to work with banks. And it's the technology that has not been around for the small business. If you take a look at CVS,
what kind of technology are you using?
We're using a technology that's fairly new. It's called card-linked offers, and it's a technology that came out in 2010, primarily by the big banks. Bank of America, if you've heard on the news, has and on commercials, they've got Bank of Mary deals, and these are actual offers that you receive on your online banking if you bank with Bank of America. And an advertisement will come on your online banking next to a relevant purchase. So if you purchased McDonald's last week, this week you might get an advertisement for Carl's Jr. that'll give you cash back if you go there. If you purchased at a pet store, you'll get a relevant offer from another pet store. The issue was that with these large banks, they were only promoting large chains because of all the massive amounts of branches that Bank of America has. They could only work with Amazon.com or McDonald's or Carl's Jr. While we work with smaller banks.
Excuse me, Jeff, but are you saying that you can actually take your technology and customize it to the local mom and pop owner?
Absolutely. That's what we've done. That's what Keeping It Local is about. And we've proven it through a local bank that we actually launched in Glendale, which is a credit union. And we connected the local community, which was in Montrose, in the area of Pasadena and Burbank and Glendale. And now we are actually seeing these transactions in the system working within the community from a small community bank promoting to its existing cardholder base that was not using their local credit union card or their local community bank card because it wasn't giving them any rewards. So they kept on using their American Express for points. Of course, they were getting their points and what have you. They use another card and never use the local community card. Now we give them a reason to use that card, and that card now becomes top of wallet, and it becomes a relevant and important card for those cardholders within that community bank, connecting them to the local merchants.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. And so you started this with a small group of businesses. You've now successfully launched in the Glendale area. To me, it seems like this is an idea that will spread like fire. I can tell you, in the banking business that I'm in, there has been over the last probably 3 or 4 years a real big push within the community bank segment of the banking industry to push this very idea of keeping it local. And so when I saw a company named Keeping It Local that's going out there and encouraging this community-based purchase model, it just seemed really interesting. And now that you've managed to sort of create a technology or a platform that allows, even the smallest of mom and pops to participate in this, it seems like it's something that's definitely needed out there in our communities. Because I got to say, I personally have have never visited a certain large retailer out there, and probably one of the behemoths. I've never been there, and I can tell you the reason I've never been there is because I love to support the local vendor, because these are the folks that I break bread with when I go out to lunch, when I go out to dinner. These are the folks that create our community. These are the folks who are dropping off their kids when I drop off my kids at school. And so to the extent that I can benefit them, this is fantastic. So Jeff, tell me, how do we learn more about Keeping It Local? Where do we go?
You can go to keepingitlocal.com. And you can see demos, you can see videos, and you can see exactly what we are doing for communities. We're working with local Chamber of Commerce. We're working with tourist bureaus, and we're keeping those funds locally. And that's really our primary goal.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Jeff, for being on the show with us. And I look forward to a lot of great things coming out of Keeping It Local. And we will see you guys on Money Talk next week.